Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Show abusha for me mama akwaba edemoba PENDREAM TV. So me pacha oba pe bon modern say subscribe to the channel. Like video na share to other platforms. O subscribe ya eboa ema ye juma no eko etumpon. Entimesro pasa oba subscribe edi ama na abusha. Lawyer Martin Kpebu ene ewo TV3 the key point so wateti bi e dia mane NPP for pa wateti bi dia mane omo kire mu na mo NPP for krampo dia enkra na enyam a etimo sori amo ha ya adwen sa na mo kra Sammy Gyamfi asem e ba yi matabri di asem no dia koma shiraj ade a shiraj enhwehwe asem num na mo ankasa no ade dia na ha mo ntia mo pesa mo compare a year Sammy Gyamfi issue to a year Cecilia Dapa abusia nsamo a year honorable Martin Kpebu akeka e de akire NPP for me pesa me no mienu eko na yekutie enkomo no eba sesia me pesa me no ko enti yenko TV3 so na yekutie enkomo no emra.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, governance is gone a notch higher, okay? Because, you know, it's beginning to show that we have zero tolerance for certain actions, yeah? And you see, just as Adam mentioned, even a lot of NDC food soldiers joined in and were clamoring, right? Yeah, so at the base of it, I mean, speaking raw, it just tells you that, you know, citizens are beginning to clamor for better dividends from our democracy. You see, so for the food soldiers, reading the comments, some of them were saying, oh, they had approached Sammy Gyamfi for help and they didn't get same. You see, so that's their pain. So meaning that the resources were not being distributed evenly. That's the main thing. If you just open this, for the food soldiers, it's about the even distribution of the resources. They didn't feel that it was equitable, you know, and that's why HKC Prempe says that is the incident more about the identity of the person to whom the gift was made. You see, yes, because, you know, Agradaa is known to have at least, she's not poor. I don't want to put a categorical placement on her in terms of whether she's rich or poor. At least from what we see on social media, she's not poor. So for the food soldiers who are very poor, what they're thinking is that we should be taken care of first before Agradaa. Well, you know, it's a very difficult matter to deal with in terms of that distribution argument. But me, what I'm very certain about is that we just didn't give Sammy Gyamfi a good, a fair treatment on this matter. You see, you would see that it's more about a certain politics. You see, the NPP were quick to get off the blocks because they are looking for a case to equalize the Cecilia Dapa problem. You see that debacle. Yes, because Cecilia Dapa had millions of dollars that she could not explain. You see the difference? Cecilia Dapa had millions of dollars that she could not explain. She told OSP she had cosmetic businesses too. OSP investigated and found out that those businesses don't belong to her. Then for another time she said the money, the dollars belong to the exactly, the deceased brother, right? Now that one too, it turns out that it's not true because she withdrew from that story. You see, and that one, what we're using, the key thing for those who were quick to compare with Cecilia Dapa is that the beginning legal presumption for the Cecilia Dapa case is that in law, under Act 1044, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, right? If we see you work with income or any other form of property that is beyond your means, then the presumption is that you are into money laundering. Once it looks beyond your means, so ask yourself, what Sammy Gyamfi counted, does it look beyond his means? They were rushing. No, you see, the NPP, they should take it easy, take it easy. You just lost elections badly.
It's not just
Well, okay, you lost election badly because you didn't know how to govern. You were overtaken by too much greed. We were here talking, telling you, hey, that's not how to do it. People were busy saying that we have problems with the president, we have problems with Fufuriata. You think if we see TV, we cannot tell? That's why you lost. So sometimes it's just good to keep quiet for a while. You see, even the silence itself, there's a lot of value in it. Just keep quiet. Leave us, there's still a lot of euphoria. And then, or if you want to talk, then it will be more constructive. But you don't go on a destructive path. Yes, Sammy Gyamfi held you to account. There was bad governance. That's why he did. So if he's counting a few dollars and that's what you want to use, you've taken a petition to shred. You see, if you wanted to sound or be seen as being objective, then you would have added one on Cicely Adapa. Or when the Cicely Adapa matter happened, what did you do? Those of you who are now speaking, the NPP leadership, what did you do about the Cicely Adapa matter? Rather, people joined in and were giving her all manner of, ridiculous defenses, which all didn't check out, okay? So the key thing is that this Sammy Gyamfi man is, I can speak plainly because, look, I'm not a politician. The politicians will try to be very polite because they know some people will be offended. But it's better we do a very robust public debate. So I can do the robust debate because I'm not one. So that we don't create a problem. You should, in trying to resolve this matter, the cure should not be worse than the disease. So this money that you found, Sammy Gyamfi counted, let's begin to analyze legally. You see, Article 18 of our Constitution guarantees our right to privacy. And the word is guarantee. It's not the Constitution that even gave the right. The Constitution came and met that right. That's why they use the word guarantee. It's not given. So you are born with it. You have a right to privacy.
Okay.
So Sammy Gyamfi is in public, standing out with Agradaa, that's Patricia Esiedu. But when it got to counting of the money, he entered the car. So the question you should be asking is that if you wanted to do it publicly, openly display opulence, what would have stopped him from reaching into the car, take the money, and come back and start counting? What would have stopped him?
Show it to the media.
Exactly. But the fact that the gentleman entered the car, sat down, and you see, watch the video again, you see that he turned his back. You see? Yes. So he wasn't being aware of any camera. You see, he turned his back. So you see that you see his back. He was turned and sought to count. And then secondly, you see Patricia Esiedu Agradaa cover him. So it's not as if the door was left open. So those who said, oh no, once it's in a public place, that is there's no privacy, please. That's not the law. Let's slow down. Let's not run ahead of ourselves. It's the Supreme Court that has a final word on it. As far as I'm aware, there's no Supreme Court decision saying, you see how
the argument has been made, yes. That
yeah, you see how he's turned.
In the public.
He's in the car. And you see how he's turned. Do you see him counting the money even facing Agradaa? No.
So you say that argument doesn't hold?
Yeah, so it's private. And somebody puts a camera. So my major argument is that it's a breach of his right to privacy. It's a breach. Please, let's not do this. And quickly, let's answer some other questions. People have gone to bring in the argument about criminal law. If two people are having sex in a car, in a public place, yes, that one, you see, that's a crime. If you had seen Sammy Gyamfi, let's say in the car, this same car argument, if you had seen anything beyond his income, so let's say if I don't know his income, but at least stockpile like that. Once it's looking beyond, even if you see beyond 100,000, yes, you can start making noise, and then the authorities will go into it. If he's able to explain, fine. If he's not able to explain, like Cicely Adapa, then it will go on and he will go to court. But counting a few dollars, you think I don't hold such dollars? We hold such that lots of that. So please, let's not go and do anything that will create this is a problem for all of us. That's a few dollars. The Bank of Ghana, you see, a few days later came out with a notice. I mean, it wasn't directly on this one, but it's because Adongo made a comment that you can't even go into the bank for your dollars. And the Bank of Ghana brought a notice that no, over the counter you can go into your bank and take your dollars, right? So please, let's not take this out of context. We cannot regulate how much a public officer can give. It's
well,
not
that's been
done
another proposal that in the wake of this matter, because the code of conduct is silent on the giving by public officers, there should be, and you refer to Professor Ikosiba, but he also goes on that path of recommending some sort of regulation to check the giving.
Okay.
The benevolence of public officers in public.
Yes.
Because what happens in private, as you always say, the 11th commandment is what?
Yes, that shall not be caught.
So what?
Okay, so let me just wrap up on the civil aspect of the privacy. Then we'll come to this. So please, under the law, Article 18, Clause 2, as I said, you will breach the privacy when you are sure that there is a crime being committed. So know that it's a risk you are taking. So as paparazzi or anti-corruption crusader, you think something is happening in the car, it's a crime, right? Or even not anti-corruption, but I mean, you are just an active citizen. You think they are having sex in the car or there's plenty money. Just know that it's a risk you are taking. So if you go in there, invade their privacy, and you don't find a crime, you open yourself up to a lawsuit. There's no self-defense as I thought it was a crime that was being committed in the car. No, so you have to be very certain. So the one people are mentioned that, but we say if two people are having sex in a car in a public place, it's against the law. Yes, it's a crime. So you think that is what is happening in the car. If you go take pictures and it's right, yes, you are the hero. You've discovered a crime. But if you go and take pictures and it's not, you are invading the person's privacy.
I see.
So let's be very careful. So it's a risk you take by putting your camera in somebody's car. The car doesn't belong to you. When we say, for the purposes of criminal law, when we talk about a public place, let me read the definition. A public place is a place that the public have access, whether they pay money or they don't pay money, but you have free access. Or a place where even if they don't have access, you go, is maybe your home, but you do it at that part of your home where people standing from afar can see. Then in that case, yes, they are having access, right? So let's be careful.
In front of your gate.
Yes, and you are splashing money. And that one there, if you do it in such a way that somebody passing or standing from afar can see, then yes, you've constituted it into a public place. That is it. But in a car that Agradaa has covered Sammy Gyamfi, one, and then number two, Sammy Gyamfi himself has turned. It's not facing any camera. He's not saying cheese into any camera, but he's further turned. Please, for me, I see privacy. Let's not rush. We're here when you put $58 million in a hole, the cathedral hole. Okay, the skies didn't fall. We're here when Akufo-Addo put $58 million into the cathedral hole. You didn't make noise, right? All the other profligate things you did here. So come on, give us some credit. To be honest, the press conference and all that, the minority, I felt insulted. It's just like,
it's well within their right. But you say the cure should not be worse than the disease. What's the cure?
So let me just read the definition of the public space, because it's very important. If we don't get that concept, then we'll come to the cure should not be worse than the disease. Okay. All right. Just public space. Look at it. Public place includes a public way and a building, place, or conveyance to which the public are entitled or permitted to have access without a condition of making a payment or on condition of making a payment, and a building or place which is used for a public or religious meeting or assembly or an open court, and acts are done publicly if, so they finish the definition of the public place, and now they're saying you do an act publicly if they are done in a public place as are likely to be seen by a person, whether that person is or is not in a public place. So this is the part we're saying, so even your house, if you do it in such a manner that somebody can see, then, right? And then if they are done in a place which is not a public place but are likely to be seen by a person in a public place. So please, let's watch. As I said, the emphasis for any analysis should be that it's a door of a car, and Agradaa covered Sammy Gyamfi, and Sammy Gyamfi further turned his back to Agradaa, please watch that, so that tomorrow we don't create a problem for all of us. You are in your car, and then people can just come in and start taking shots of you anyhow, when they have no probable cause, right? Now let's go to the second part, the issue of the cure should not be worse than the disease. So and then should we regulate how much public officers can give? It's preposterous. You can't regulate how much a public officer can give. You don't know his income. So rather, let's strengthen the asset declaration regime. So that's why we said when the public officers declare their assets, they should be made publicly available. So let's say with Sammy Gyamfi, yes, under the Act 550, that's the public office holders law, right? Declaration and disqualification law. CEOs of state-owned enterprises must also declare. So at this stage, then we would have known that, okay, Sammy Gyamfi has X, Y, Z. So when you see the quantum of money he's doling out, you would then know that, is it within his income? You may not be certain, but I know how the human brain works. Your suspicion will be triggered if it looks too much. You see, so the better solution is a stronger asset declaration law, so that we will know who is who. And then, depending on how much you are giving out, suspicions will be raised. Then we can report. But if you don't know how much the person is worth, and he's giving whatever, well, not whatever, he's giving a certain sum of money, it's not easy to suspect. So please strengthen that asset declaration law. Just last week, we're on it. Let's go on. The IMF.
Nti abushafo nkomo na yegusu a ye di kono an nkomo na na yegusu a ye di kono nti nye easy sa an lawyer Martin Kpebu or the mama momo rough yanto aso.
It as an act of parliament, and as part of passing that act of parliament, we want publication of whatever is declared. We don't want the asset declaration regime to continue as a secretive regime that currently it is, right? So that is where we should be looking at. But as for putting a seal on how much Honorable Dafemekwe can give a constituency, it's not possible. They pay fees. Honorable is here. They pay fees. They pay medical bills, etc. How can you put a ceiling? So if a constituent is going to school and needs 60,000, and let's say you put a ceiling of 20,000, so you're saying Honorable should not pay that fees? No, we can't do that. Rather, we should be interested in how much is Honorable Dafemekwe worth to be able to pay that amount. That is where we should, put our energy. That's where we should concentrate our effort. So please, I see that a lot of the time, we are not paying much attention to privacy. Maybe someday we should have a full debate on it, because people do, even pictures. We take pictures of people anyhow, then we post anyhow. No, you have no right. I mean, of course, those of us who come into the public space, politicians, etc., are an exception. But ordinary private Ghanaian walking on the street, you can't even take, he's walking on the street, but you can't take a picture of him without his permission. You can't, unless it's involved.
Someone talks about the office.
Sorry? Yes, that's what I'm saying. So public officers, all right, in certain conduct, that's why I say yes, there are exceptions, okay, celebrities, etc. But I'm just showing that the concept of privacy, we seem to have just thrown it away. Anything, once it's a public officer, everything. No, it's not everything that goes. If the man is in his car, somebody has covered him. It's not like that the door has been left ajar and he has further turned his back to even the person covering him. Please, please, I don't want to do certain things that tomorrow we cannot defend. He has turned his back to even the person talking to him. Please. Then you can see there's an attempt to get some privacy.
Well, but just a quick one on this, because I need to stay on that asset declaration and the conduct of public officers bill, whether that would cure any disease as identified whatsoever.
I think that we should also strengthen the code of conduct, the ethical aspect of it. And there are two statements that I think are crucial for that. I mean, it's just to make sure public officers are led to this. The first part is maintaining a lifestyle that is commensurate with their incomes. That's part of what Martin is also saying. I'm saying let's emphasize it, let's consolidate it, that you ought to maintain a lifestyle commensurate with your income. which means that avoid any extravagant or lavish spending or giving or excessive purchases or consumption. That could raise questions. Because once you're a public officer, all of us, you are serving us, citizens have a right to question and to scrutinize what you are doing. So just avoid that. I think that's important. The second thing is avoid conflicts or perceived conflicts of interest. In other words, be mindful of how your actions or inactions could be perceived by the public, and avoid situations that could create a perception of some impropriety or bias, or that could you be misusing funds, etc. I think it's important to have that also clear, that just as much as possible. Exactly. Just avoid potential perceived conflicts of interest. Things through your actions, could it lend itself to an interpretation of impropriety or bias, or, you know. And I think if we codify that in the current code of conduct, and even in the Kpebu, it will help guide all of us. Having said that, I think the question of how the citizens corrupt our public officers, and as I was sitting, I was just thinking, shouldn't we have a hashtag, don't corrupt our public officers? There are more citizens than public officers, and we're always demanding weddings, funerals, lining up. My brother here, tell us, isn't it the citizens that are creating problem also? So hashtag, don't corrupt our public officers. We are resetting. Isn't that the case? You want to join the president's campaign. Don't corrupt. Hashtag, or hashtag live within your means. That is for all of us. And don't go asking for monies that they don't have. Because
they have the right to refuse to give.
Oh, which is true. But I think that if we do not see that as a society, we are contributing to the problem and we are complicit. Because citizens are demanding. What made Agradaa believe that she should go asking? In fact, if we were in secondary school, somebody would have come up with a key term, Agradize, the root is this, the synonyms are that, you know, and would have been...
Find the square root
of it, and some songs. So let's also look at that aspect. The fact that, and don't forget, it dovetails into our political campaigns. I mean, the last time CDD said we are now looking at $150 million for a presidential campaign. I did some maths on it and I got 3.1. It means $3.1 million per month. If he wants to pay back, if anybody wants to pay back by the time the 4 years is done, every month he must find $3.1 million to pay back of his campaign. That's a lot of money. What is the most of that money going? The bulk of it is going to people who are asking. So how do we look at this issue critically and say, let's stop demanding? So it's not just about the public officer, it is also about the society that is collecting and demanding, whether it's weddings and funerals, and we need to look at that as well. Well, and
sorry, and Nasser Rosen, still on the matter of law, because
Yo, for PENDREAM TV, so I'm saying, Ienua Penini, Martin Kpebu, lawyer Martin Kpebu, or no, or did name someone abeto to hold on the Chirimua, near NPP for ye nina, fadia air cost nina, no yadia, was a gun and Ibia, as also a fracadam, and ye as and papa bia. NPP for mobile man said them bo money Timon ye come on untum ye unko ye nim. Abusia a PENDREAM TV message also subscribe, like a video no na share to other platforms. Emma obisuso enya bi enhwe. PENDREAM TV say edamu yopo.
Dedi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.